Now we'll discuss the Newton's laws of motion. There are 3 laws of motion that Newton gave us, and these 3 laws of motions governs the motion of bodies. These laws of motion governs the whole mechanics. So this is very basic and fundamental, and we'll take one by one. I'll take here first what Newton's first law of motions. In fact, I'll start with a statement. And the statement is like this: state that every object in this universe remains in a state of rest or continues to move at uniform velocity in a straight line unless acted upon by an external impressed force to change their state. So to understand this Newton's first law of motion, I'll take it in 2 parts. The first part is like this: every object in this universe remains in a state of rest. Body can have 2 states: state of rest and state of motions. And here it's saying that every object in this universe remains in a state of rest unless acted upon by an external impressed force to change that state. So what it means? It means that if the body is at rest, and if you don't apply any force, if you don't disturb this body, it will remain at rest. It will not change. It will not change position, right? It will not move, right? If you don't apply any force, if you don't disturb this body which is at rest, it will not move. It will remain at rest. So that's the first part, right? So that is very understandable and very obvious, right? If the body is at rest and if the body is not affected by any force, it will remain at that rest, state of rest. The second part, to explain the second part, okay, which is very quite interesting, and it's saying that every object in this universe continues to move at uniform velocity in a straight line unless acted upon by external impressed force to change the state. You know what is uniform velocity? We already discussed this, right? Uniform velocity means if the body is moving with the same speed in the same straight line, that is called what? Uniform velocity. If the body is moving with a uniform velocity, that means the body is moving in the same speed in the same straight line. And if you don't apply any force, if this body is not acted upon by any external impressed force, it will continue to move at that uniform velocity. That means it will move with the same speed in the same straight line if it is not affected by any external force. It doesn't matter whether from where it is coming and where it is going to. It doesn't matter. And it's also not matter that who is supplying energy to move that body like that, like this, okay? Here it is important that, okay, it will continue to move at that uniform velocity as long as it is not disturbed by any external force. As long as it is not disturbed by any external force, it will continue to move with the same speed in the same straight line if it is not disturbed by any external force, any external impressed force. Once it is disturbed by an external force, it may change its directions, or it may change its speed. That means it may change its uniform velocity. Otherwise, it will continue to move at that uniform velocities. So this is what the Newton's first law of motions, which I explained here in two part. So at once, okay, if I have to say, then it is what? Every object in this universe remains in a state of rest or continues to move at uniform velocity in a straight line unless acted upon by any external impressed force to change that state. So this is Newton's first law of motions.